All right, microphone array is what that
There we
was.
go.
All
You
right,
can't you
we
can't
are.
start you can't start a podcast without some audio issues. It's all good.
Yeah, it's great. It's the story of my life on this thing. You know, you get a setup and it all works, and then nothing works. So it's great.
Oh yeah, dude. I tried the whole like Twitch streaming thing, and I could not even get it started up without like any sort of like lag or anything like that. I was like, this is way too difficult, you know?
You Twitch stream as a ventriloquist?
I wanted to, but I need a better computer. My computer's so old that I can't stream on it. Like it's a 7-year-old laptop.
Oh,
And
geez.
exactly. And so I was like, oh, maybe I should have waited to get a better computer first, you
You
know?
can't even update a 7-year-old laptop.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I got a new camera and I was like, oh, this was a bad idea, you know?
Wow, this is fun to have you here. Tell the audience a little bit about yourself. Oh, hold on. Let's do this. My name is Landon Harvey. Welcome to
Landed live.
All right, for the little production quality we have here, we can do that. Yeah, Landon Live. Today we have Jack Williams, comedian, ventriloquist, and now TikToker.
Yes.
Very
Yes.
exciting. Tell us a little bit about that. How'd you get into ventriloquism?
Well, I guess my story is kind of a little bit non-traditional. I know a lot of ventriloquists get started by watching other well-known ventriloquists, but I was actually watching an episode of Goosebumps when I was 11 years old. I think I was either 9 or 10. Yeah, 9 or 10. And I was at a friend's house and we were watching Goosebumps, and it was the episode with Slappy in it. And my friend was terrified of this ventriloquist dummy, but I thought it was very cool. Like I was like, this is awesome. Like I want this. I want a ventriloquist dummy in my life.
I want that. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. And I didn't think it was scary. Like I thought it was cool. So
right.
I went home that day and I asked my dad, you know, I don't know why I asked him this, but I was like, do you have a ventriloquist dummy? And he looked at me and he was like, yes. And he actually had,
really?
Yes, he had, I forget if it was a Jerry Mahoney. I think it was a Jerry Mahoney pull string dummy. And he had it, he got it as a Christmas present when he was 8 years old, and just kind of, you know, used it as a child and kind of tucked it away in his garage, and it kind of collected dust, but he gave it to me and I just started practicing and, you know, just using it around the house all the time. And I didn't really get serious about it until I saw the ventriloquist convention online. You know, once you get a dummy, I think that's when you start looking at other ventriloquists, right? You know, so I started watching, obviously Jeff Dunham, huge influence, Nina Conti, Jay Johnson, Dan Horn, all those guys. And I really was like, these guys are like the A-list comedians. You know, I didn't know that stand-up comedy. I didn't even know what stand-up comedy was. So ventriloquism was kind of my first introduction to comedy, like live comedy. And
yeah, it was mine as well.
Exactly. I was like, this is the only form of live comedy there is, so I might as well do it, you know. And that's when I started researching all those other ventriloquists, and
they're all different styles too. Like you expect, like Dunham's a stand-up with puppets, you know, Dan Horn is all like situational comedy and like physical comedy with his. It's like they're all, Nina Conti has her own thing going on, especially now with all the masks and all that, you know.
Yeah. And I really was kind of just blown away by this art form and just how different it was than anything I'd ever seen before. Like I really believed in these characters, and you know, even now I think that that's like the biggest thing like a ventriloquist can bring to the table is jokes and characterization. Because like if you don't have the audience believing in the character, like it's not gonna work. But I I think my first puppet that I got, like professional puppet, was that Axtell bird puppet that I still use from time to time in some of my videos to this day. Just because, you know, it's you know, he makes great characters. And you know, I started practicing with that. I did talent shows, and when I started to get a reception from like a bigger audience, like at my grade school in, I want to say 4th grade, I remember my big like belly laugh to the crowd joke was the bird just being like, "I'm hungry," and I'm like, "Oh, what do you want?" And he's like, "I want a cheeseburger." And to like 11-year-olds, they thought that was hilarious. Like they died laughing. That was like the standing ovation. Like, you're the best. And
so was that your first show? Like in front of a big audience like that?
Yeah, my first show was in front of like 300 people. It was a talent show. It was like the 4th grade talent show, and I did that, and that's when I wanted to start doing the convention. So, you know, I'm originally from Indiana, and so Indiana is pretty close to Kentucky, like Fort Mitchell, Kentucky, and my dad was, you know, super supportive. So, you know, he took me to the convention. I was 12 when I went to my first convention, and it was also Jeff Goltz's first convention too.
Never heard of him.
Yeah, who is he? I don't know who that guy is.
He doesn't even have a website. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just some unknown guy. And so yeah, I really, when I met him and kind of just saw everyone's like passion for it at the convention, it really kind of, I think, sparked like wow, even though it's not a big, well, and even at the time as a kid, I didn't know that it was such a like niche art form that wasn't super like widely known, you know?
Right.
When I first went there and saw Jeff Dunham for the first time, that was like, I don't get starstruck, but that was the only time I was genuinely starstruck, because I thought he was like God tier, you know?
Oh yeah, like you get into ventriloquism, and then the whole world like of the art opens up to you, and you don't consider how like just like the civilians view ventriloquism, you know?
But I would find that out later, you know, like
right.
We all find that out later, and yeah, so I started the first year I didn't perform at the convention because I wanted to see other people perform, and I was 12 too, you know. I mean, I think you performed when you were 12, so you know.
I looked like I was 12. I was 16.
Oh wow!
But thank you.
That's crazy. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I think I would my second convention I performed, and it was an awesome feeling. And yeah, honestly,
did you do junior mic or like open mic?
Okay. I did junior mic. I did junior mic because I went to the convention from 12 to 17, and then I stopped going once I moved to LA, just because you know, money, apartments. LA is expensive. I want to go back, obviously, one day. You know, it's not me not wanting to go. Like, obviously, I'd love to go again. It's just one of those things as far as like, you know, coming. I don't know. I almost want to go back with like, you know, like a lot of like accomplishment and stuff, and like a solid, you know, act and all that stuff. And but yeah. After I did the convention, I started just doing birthday parties, you know, everything you can do as like a child ventriloquist. And when I was like starting to make like, you know, $50, I was like, wow, you can make money from this. This is awesome. And, you know, obviously acting was a big part of me growing up. Ventriloquism was what I did first, but I acted in plays throughout high school and grade school. And that's actually what I moved to California for, which wasn't just for ventriloquism. It was to go to acting school. And so, you know, I got my associate's degree from acting school, which, you know, you can do tons of things with. Like any job will take an associate's degree for acting, trust me. But no. Yeah, so that's absolutely useless.
I can act like I belong here. Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. And when I was in acting school, it was awesome because there was other people who wanted to do stand up and do live comedy too that I would go out to shows with. So that kind of put my feet on the ground in LA as far as like doing live shows at comedy clubs here, consistently.
So when you got into comedy clubs, were you still observing like these vents that you had looked up to as a kid, or are you watching more of comics and trying to do kind of more like be more like a comic, but like with the ventriloquist thing on top of that?
Here's the funny thing is when I first moved to LA, I didn't have any of my puppets with me. I had them actually shipped after I was dropped off to school. So when I was starting out at doing comedy clubs, I was just doing stand up and just stand up alone. And let me tell you, I as much crap as like ventriloquism, and ventriloquist gets, just being a comic and like looking the way I look, it is extremely hard to get booked and, at least starting out, you know what I mean? But when you go on stage with a puppet and, obviously I had this like long history with it, when I was watching comedy in the beginning, doing clubs, I was kind of only watching the stand-ups and listening to how they were doing it. But now I'm much more looking at ventriloquists than stand-up comedians. I have a little bit of a different perspective of ventriloquism now than I did when I was like 18, 19, 21.
What do you mean by that? Like, how's it changed?
I used to look at it like I was just like a stand-up comedian, and I was like, I have to grind for these spots and do these really bad shows at these open mics like every night. But then my perspective changed once I started getting booked on shows that were different, or I'd be booked on shows with comics that were like way above like other people's like shows essentially. So I don't know. I think when you're a stand-up comedian, you're trying to like riff, and you're trying to get that natural stage persona. But as a ventriloquist, I feel like it's a matter of lots and lots of practice, whether it be at home, in front of a crowd, and just you're acting like with the character. You know what I mean? So I have this perspective of now, if I'm preparing for a show, I'll do like these lower, bad shows, but I won't do them like every night. You know what I mean? Like a stand-up comic will do this every night, and they'll put themselves through that experience. But it's like, as a ventriloquist, when you're doing that, a lot of the times people are like, what is this? You know what I mean? They're like,
and it's also like you're kind of like already above all these like wannabe comics.
Yes.
And you've got the character figured out, you've got your thing figured out, you're just trying new jokes. And I've had the same experience. So then you get out there and you're like, this kind of sucks because I'm out here and I'm trying to do it. And sometimes the crowds are just other comics. And then you have to be like even more out there to get them on your side. And it's just it's a weird vibe, but I understand completely what you're saying. So you're saying that you'll
and it's like I was preparing for a big show, like probably one of the biggest show I've done to like this date. And I just remember doing a show at a club, and it was outside, and there was 3 comics in the audience, and I had done this act so many times, and it had proven to getting laughs and stuff, and I just remember it was just so awkward, just with these 3 people in the audience, and I was like, why am I here? You know what I mean? Like I was like, literally, why am I here? And so I think that's my perspective on how I prepare now is just really try to like hone it at home, do a few shows here and there with like a sizable audience, because ventriloquism, in my opinion, it's meant to be seen in a show setting, like I have a real show, Right. Because if there's like 3 people in the crowd, they're like, oh, it's a puppet show, like we always joke around like it's a puppet show, but it is a show, it's a performance. There's acting, emotion,
Yeah, and that's why I feel like it does better when it's on a stage. Like some of these comedy clubs or these side comedy events are like, in a bar, or like we'll move these seats back and this is your stage area, but there's no platform. You know, so
Yeah,
it's like I think when people look up on it, actually like looking up or you know, they see the grandeur of the stage and they're like, oh, the ventriloquist coming out, we know when to laugh and everything else. It like draws them more.
the only I would say the only cool thing about doing those kind of smaller venues is you get to see like comics who eventually you know, rise up in comedy like years later. I remember doing a show at a Korean barbecue in Hollywood that they had like a finger painting class. Like that was the next thing that happened after the open mic. And I remember I saw Cody Ko do a performance at that open mic, you know, and this was like 5 or 6 years ago. So this is when he didn't have that. He had probably like 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, but it's just crazy to see that now he's like a huge YouTuber and where, you know, you could just start out at an open mic. That's what I'd say is cool about like the LA mic scene is you never know who really can rise up and all that stuff. So yeah.
Wow. Wow, that's fantastic. I want to move on to a segment called Jabber with Jackie. Here we go.
Oh, this is gonna be fun. It's Jabber with Jackie.
Okay, so I have a question for Jack Lillians. Yes. Okay. So, yeah, and the green screen's still attacking your antlers. It's static electricity. Sure, yeah. So, what's your question, Jackie? My question, because I have to be on here so your TikTok viewers will listen to this crap. Right, yes. My question, Jack Lillians, is how are events viewed today in the comedy club scene? Is it changed from like when Dunham did, or do you still have the stigma, or kind of a little bit of both? It's a good question. Thank you. Yeah.
You know, Jackie, that is a great question. I appreciate it, and I love you. I love you so
thank you.
Yes, you're very entertaining. And I would have to say that it's a little bit of both. I think a lot of the shows I've done, I've gotten a mixed response. It's either really, really awesome, you know, from people who have never seen a ventriloquist. They're like, this is the first time I've ever seen a ventriloquist live. This is like a myth. This like Bigfoot to me. I'm just seeing it for the first time. And they're, you know, shocked by it. Or I usually start out my act by announcing that I'm a ventriloquist before I take a character out. And just by saying I'm a ventriloquist alone, that gets a laugh. It's a laugh.
It's a laugh. Okay.
It's either a laugh at me, which I don't really mind. I understand, you know,
yeah.
I just want to get the audience being like, this is the situation here, you know, this is what we're going to do, you know, and, but yeah, I would say it's a mix of both. Yeah. I've had great response to it. And I've also told people I was a ventriloquist, and then, you know, comedians have been like, oh yeah, you look like one. Like, what? Like, I look like one. What does that mean?
I've got that too. I have no idea what that means, but you just kind of roll with it, right?
You look like one. You know, you got that old timey look. You know. What was it? And I have had negative responses from it too. You know what I mean? I have had, you know, people, but they haven't seen my act. Usually when people haven't seen the act, I always have to say like, give the act a shot, you know, watch the live show. And that's why I would say it's a mix of both for sure.
So are you talking about like audiences when you perform, or are you talking about like other comics, or just like general people when you tell them?
Both. I mean, it depends on the audience too. Like a lot of the times if the audience is ready to see stand-ups and just stand-ups, they're more than likely like okay with seeing a ventriloquist too. Sometimes it throws them off, you know, if they're just seeing all these stand-ups. But a lot of the time it's good reception. But that's what I'm saying. That's what the audience is though. Like with the comics, it's usually before they see the act. They're like, let's see if this guy's funny first. You know, it's like that kind of a test. You know, yeah.
I have a question. Sure, go ahead. Okay, so like a lot of today's comics, especially in LA, are like quick, or they have their own kind of physical thing going on. Did you find that you had to like be quicker as a comedian, or do you slow it down, or how do you approach comedy as it relates to your act as a ventriloquist? That's very insightful. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, good question, Jackie. from Wyoming, right?
Yeah, you got it.
Yes, I remember.
Nothing better than trying to believe in someone else's puppet. Right, yeah. He's playing along. That's good. Yeah.
No, I think as far as the pacing goes, I really would try. It depends on the character, at least. I think with like Sugar Daddy Mar, for example, I'd say he's like very quick. It's like a quick back and forth.
Okay.
And same with I would say Foster. With this new character I'm developing, Rich Handsome, I think it's going to be less about the jokes and more about the character. So the act that I'm writing for him now is like very slow and very weird. Like
Okay.
I want people to like really think this guy is very strange, and my reactions to how strange he is going to be kind of the comedic aspect of it. It's not necessarily the jokes. Yeah, it's everything you're seeing on stage and witnessing as like what is going on, you know? So it depends character from character.
I like that though, to have each character where it's a different sensibility and approach to comedy, I think is a neat way to go at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fantastic. Thanks for being part of this. You're welcome. All right.
See you later, Jack.
So you're getting into the LA scene, and you know, like we talked about with Foster, how long have you had Foster? Now Foster's a rabbit and he's hilarious. But you've got what's your approach when you like introduce a new character? Do you write for it first? Do you get the puppet first? What's your take on it?
I've had Foster for 2 years now, and I usually like to get the character first. And I usually try to go for something that looks different that I've never seen before, because you know what's like the biggest thing you get in your comments on TikTok? Where can I get this puppet? I've seen this puppet here, and you know, and so I try to make it so people can't say that. They can't be like, I've seen this puppet here. One of the first video that kind of made me go viral on TikTok was with Foster, and even in that video with like 900 comments or whatever, somebody was like, you got that puppet on Etsy. Like somebody knew, really deep down in the comments.
Did you?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Yeah. I got Foster on Etsy, but from the Circus Cottage, if anyone wants to know. But
I don't like people knowing where I get my puppets. It's Etsy at the Circus Cottage. We'll link
Circus Cottage, yeah. And the thing is, there are other creators on TikTok who have puppets that are similar to Foster that I've seen. I've been like, oh, I didn't even know that. That's crazy.
Oh, wow.
But they're just different colors. So there's like an orange bunny, but mine is different because I paid extra for her to add legs. So originally it was just a cut off puppet, and I think I paid like $100 extra for her to add legs to it. And so he was more of a event friendly type character. So yeah, I got him off Etsy. I started developing the act. Once I got him, the character, I kind of knew I already wanted him to be like this kind of like strung out bunny who, was, on Sesame Street and all these shows and, the Muppets, which is funny. I actually wanted to tell you that you were the one who inspired me to change my name from Muppet Jack to Puppet Jack. Because I thought I remember you said that to me on your live, and I was like, that is a good point. I could probably get in trouble for that later down the line,
Well, yeah, and like I'm all for like doing the whole like Muppet jokes in a show, but like you kind of gotta be careful when it's like it weaves into your brand, so. Oh yeah,
and there was a creator on TikTok who had a Mickey Mouse puppet who I'm talking about. He's not.
These guys enrage me. The Elmo like knockoff puppets, the Mickey Mouse people, and they've got millions of followers.
Yeah, he got taken off the app, and I'm wondering if it's, and he had probably like 10 million followers. And I'm wondering if it's for like Disney copyright,
Wow.
Because you're using the same voice. You're literally using Mickey Mouse,
And it's probably the puppet from like Disney.com or whatever that you can buy.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. But yeah, no, I usually I get the character first. and try to feel out the voice. The voice is something that sometimes I have an idea in my mind for it, but sometimes it'll turn out completely different. Like when I got Marv, I had an idea for him to be like Russian, and then I just ended up with him being like a more like, you know, like talk like this kind of guy, you know. And same thing with Rich Handsome, is I almost wanted him to be have a narrator voice, but I ended up with him going with more of like a British accent. So you never know.
Okay. What changes it for you? Like getting the puppet and just kind of testing it out, or
testing it out and just trying to differentiate the character's voice, because like my live act is very different than everything I do on TikTok. I think, you know, as far as like my live show, I think it's more true to me. Whereas like TikTok, it's one of those things where I think, you know, it's kind of like when you're making a video, you're kind of putting a blindfold on with a dart and you're just shooting and just hoping that it lands. You know, you don't really know, but I feel like there is a certain weird kind of standard that they have where it's like you try to make like an original video and it does no views, and then you just put something together in like 3 minutes and you get like millions of views from it, and you're like, what? You know, I put any effort into this video and I never thought that this video would go viral, you know. Whereas like a live act, it's more proven to work because, you know, like based off like the audience's response.
Sure, yeah, and you know, that's such an interesting thing. Sorry, I've got my parents are coming home. They were in New York seeing my sister. She's in the Merchant Marines, and so they went to go see her and check up on her, and they just got back on their flight. No, it is an interesting thing though. You know, approaching characters. I'm always fascinated by it, and TikTok is such a weird thing. I remember, you know, I spent so much time trying to establish these puppets to my audience, and then I do something with a rat puppet I built, and it hits 1 million views, and it pisses me off because it's like you can't tell, and then you try to do it again, and then it flops, and so it's like it's all a matter of time and place, and it's always the stuff that you never put any time into that takes off.
You never know. You never know with TikTok. You think I feel like whenever I think a video is going to do really well, it does the worst.
Yeah.
Like you can't prep too. Like I did a theory where I was doing a lot of those duet videos, right? Like the side by side videos, and almost every one that I posted would get like 500,000 views. And I was like, all right, let me just post one where I'm not doing the duet, because it was kind of making me mad that those videos were doing so well. And then the videos where I just, you know, be myself, you know, and not like react.
Right.
Yeah, video would do not as well. And I was like, I'm just gonna like find a random video on TikTok, you know, duet it and just make up whatever, you know, in a minute, like right before I go like, you know, to get groceries or whatever. And I did it, and I was like, all right. And then I spent like an hour on another video, and I posted both. The other one I think got like 2,000 views, and that duet I made in a minute has like 700,000 views now. It's insane. Like it's absolutely insane.
That's crazy. Do you have a favorite puppet, or do you like because you do different comedy with each of them. Do you like the way that it kind of changes from when you go to?
I think my puppets, I think I'm the most natural with the ones that I have used for a long time, as far as like lip control, you know, having your hand placement, you know, that kind of sounds weird to the audience at home, but you know, as ventriloquists, we have our hands inside of puppets a lot of the time, you know, and it's getting used to, and that sounds strange, I know, but like it's getting used to.
I'm not good without one.
Yeah, it's getting used to the feeling, and the more you're used to that feeling, the more like comfortable you are gonna, you know, using it. And so I would say, yeah, I don't really have a favorite. I think it's usually the newest one that I have, because I'm more inspired to like write and perform. Like Rich Handsome, I'm just like, now I'm developing this act, I'm just kind of always almost thinking in Rich Handsome, his voice, you know. Yeah.
Can we see him? Can we meet Rich?
Oh yeah, I got Rich right here. I got Foster over here too.
Oh, fantastic! This is his
buddy, you want
great appearance. And those that are listening to this, you gotta come to the YouTube to watch this. You're not gonna want to miss it. You just pause it here and then watch it on YouTube.
Yes. Landon Live, right? That's your name of your channel, right?
Yep, it's the Landon Live channel. It's yep, that's right.
All right, so this guy Rich Handsome, I live in Hollywood, so I met him walking on Hollywood Boulevard, and he came up to me, and there's a lot of kind of lost souls on Hollywood Boulevard, and he said he needs a platform. He wants to show that he is born to perform. He is a performer, and so he wanted to be a part of my show. So this is Rich Handsome. Hello. It is so nice to meet you, Landon. I've heard so much about him. He's a pretty little boy, isn't he?
You both have great heads of hair. It's fantastic. This is your first online debut, Rich, or Mr. Handsome. I don't know. Is it Mr. Rich Handsome? Is it?
You
Handsome?
can call me Rich, Dick,
okay,
whatever you want.
all
I have perfect bone structure. You have perfect bone structure? Yes. I think Landon knows a little bit about that. Mm-hmm. I love your teeth, Landon. They remind me of a vampire. I see you've been reading his comments. Oh, yes.
That's great. Oh, he's hilarious. I love it. And I'm sure you could do great crowd work with him too. Just in the like, talk about like pausing just as a comic, but as a ventriloquist, just pausing and having him look around and like judge his entire surroundings is great.
I have the gaze of a vampire. Yes. Rich, I have a question for you. Like, what do you do? Well, I am an entrepreneur, self-help coach, director, actor, sex symbol, and I also drive Lyft. Wait, you do all of those things, but you drive for Lyft? Yes, that's called passive income. Gary Vee taught me that.
That's great. That would kill on TikTok.
Yeah. You've been watching a lot of Gary Vee, a lot of self-help coach guys. Yes. Yeah, I almost want like, as far as like Rich to as a character, when I was like making him and developing his voice, and he's still like a very like new development. I don't think I have him fully fleshed out. Oh, I like flesh. What? Huh? No, but I as I'm figuring him out, I almost had that inspiration of Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh yes.
And Tom Jones as a singer, just how their voices, they go here and they kind of have a sexual undertone. You know what I mean? Like as far as this is like very act out. Like that's what I mean as far as like I want his act to be almost like, more of like you're laughing at the character rather than the jokes,
Sure, of course. Yeah, that's great. It's kind of like what Dunham does with Peanut, but it's not the character of Peanut that you're doing. You're just making it where it's so character based that it's funny. Like he's not wacky like Peanut, but you can tell that he's got that whole, eccentric vibe going on. So it's fantastic. I want to do this next segment, Bones to Pick, with Bill, and you keep Rich happy on, Jack, and we'll do this here. Oh.
Where is he? I only see you. He looks like a living brick.
Oh my God. I did not think this through. Here, let's fix this. Can we fix this? Let's see.
That's hilarious. It's because he's green.
I'm the Invisible Man. This is a new puppet. Yeah, there we go.
That's
right.
an expensive puppet,
Great.
right
I identify as seen now. That's great.
there.
Jeez. Focus. I'm sorry. Oh. Hey, that's Jack Williams and Rich Happy. It is. I hate that guy. All right. So, Val, yeah, this is your segment. Oh, what's it called? It's called Bones to Pick, right? Yeah, where we talk about performer pet peeves. Right, thinks they're stealing my thunder. Right. So go ahead and ask your question. All right. So my question is to Rich Happy. What is the biggest pet peeve you have in your industry of what you do?
My biggest pet peeve is when someone says my last name is Rich Happy and not Rich Handsome. That's the first one. And
I'm losing my mind.
it's okay. You know, you're dead, so I wouldn't blame you. So
thanks.
my other biggest pet peeve is when people don't think that my facial features are real or my muscles are implants. I am 100%, baby. I am all real. I'm 100% real. You are? Yes. I have had a little work done. You have? Yes. Lip filler, tummy tuck, forehead reduction, cheek implants. That's a lot of work done. Oh, and I almost forgot. I had all of my skin removed and replaced with a cream towel.
Cream is a great word as a ventriloquist. Jeez.
Cream, yes. Mm.
And you had your bumper fixed because you drive through Lyft. Right, yeah. So you have had work done on yourself and your car. Sure, yeah. Great.
I drive a golden chariot.
What is it? Like a Ferrari or something?
Fiat. Oh.
Golden
I
chariot.
like this. Okay, so my next question, sure, is what is your biggest comic pet peeves? And this goes to Jack. And if Rich likes comedy, he can ask that as well. Or answer it, right? Yeah.
I think my biggest comedy pet peeves are ventriloquists. No, I'm just kidding. I would say, man, what are my biggest comedy pet peeves? Oh, probably when people go on stage without like anything prepared, and then they wonder why they're doing really bad. They're like, oh, like they go on stage and they're like, I'm bombing. Like they're like openly just admitting that they're bombing.
And that's their opener. Yeah, it's like
and then that gets like the biggest laugh, you know?
Sure.
My biggest pet peeve is when I can't imagine the audience naked.
Well, that's thought provoking.
I need it to perform. I need it in my blood. Okay.
Performing something there. I guess so. Yeah. All right.
I must say, Bill, I love your eyebrows. They are so elegant. Who is your surgeon? I must know.
Oh, I work with the same guy that does the Kardashians. That's why I've got a chiseled chin, amazing cheekbones. Sure. Yeah. It's also why I look better on TV. Okay.
I love it, Bill. I love it.
What a lot of cheese. So what about for ventriloquists? What do you mean? Well, there's comedians and then there's ventriloquists, and I'm drawing the line because you can have ventriloquists can be funny, but there's some things that ventriloquists do that are annoying. Right, like interview people with a puppet. Right. Yeah.
Man, I would have to say, as far as like what ventriloquists do that are annoying, I don't know. I think, man,
there's a lot to pull from.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've seen so many ventriloquists go on stage without or they have something prepared that they think is really funny without practicing.
Right.
Or they're openly like thinking that they're very good. Like I can even come on and say that like I've only used Rich Handsome for like like a few weeks now. So his character development, even his movement, is not like as good. It's going to be as like Foster or Marv. So I know that a lot of people, it's just you have to be self-aware. You have to be very self-aware as a ventriloquist. And if you're not, like, you know, you're not gonna do well, because ventriloquism, you have to understand that it is a different art form. It is strange, and you might as well just roll with it. You know, roll with the strangeness. You know.
Sure. What about Rich?
Well, I don't know much about ventriloquism. Ventriloquism. Ventriloquist. I can't say it, but I know that I love to make people look at me and look at my face when I'm on stage, whether it be with a poor boy or a Landon Harvey. I know that my voice will eventually be heard. Yes.
I don't know what that answer was. I think it was just an amalgamation of words.
Yes.
I like that you just keep adding to the answer.
Yeah.
I think that's also something that could be really funny, is just in the characters keep adding to it.
I love, you know, I look at Bill and I almost see my face. He looks like a dead version of me. The chin.
Oh, he'd be lucky.
Bill, that is a compliment. We are soulmates.
Are we? I guess we do people ask you a lot about your chin? Because I get that question a lot about my chin. I'm decaying, I can't help it.
You see, our chins are very bold, you know. So
yes,
yeah.
they're in your face, bold, you know, chiseled like a statue almost.
Yes, well, you can thank my surgeon for that.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yes.
I'm thinking my surgeon, not yours, but
okay, here. Yeah. Yours is works at a morgue, right?
Yeah, you know, he dug me up, but he's a nice guy, and we keep in touch. That's good. Yeah. He actually does a lot of work on me with duct tape. Right, I'm falling apart. Yeah. I figured out what I was just gonna tell Jack. Oh, I figured out why I called him Rich and Happy is because Dunham tried a character a few years ago that was like a Siamese twin, like a conjoined twin type thing, and its name was Rich and Happy. So like one of them was Rich and the other was Happy, and so it's like it just fell off. But I don't think he's got competition there. No, because it's a different character. Right. I think that character flopped actually. Yeah. Because he couldn't.
That is something I think I messaged you about, how like everybody, you know, every ventriloquist is compared to like Jeff or Darcy Lynn. And you know, it's funny. I think, you know, it's funny to think that like people think like the root of ventriloquism, you know, or like the biggest comment I'll get is like, reminds me of Jeff Dunham. And it's like, what?
Like Jeff Dunham vibes. Yeah, it's
like, or it's like what? Like just ventriloquism in itself, you know? Like
yeah. Well, thanks, Bill, you know, for having your segment, and thank you, Rich, for being on here and showing your face.
I think you would do. It was an honor to talk to you, Landon. I hope that we can have some more one-on-one time.
I feel uncomfortable. By his stance, it looks like he's going to leap at us.
Let me. I'll show you the inside of my mouth.
Okay, no, that's enough. Thank you, Rich.
All right. Oh, fantastic. It is funny though, the whole thing with the you know, people saying they remind you, or you know, you're out and about and they're like, what do? You know, like, I'm a ventriloquist, and then they're like, oh, have you seen that girl, or have you seen that guy, or this or that? And it's always very interesting. I thought it was hilarious. When did you start with Sugar Daddy Marv? When did you start that whole thing?
I started with Sugar Daddy Marv probably man, I would say probably like my second year of living in LA, because Jeff Golteply, he let me, use Sugar Daddy Marv, super nice guy, letting me use him. And yeah, I think it was just a thing of like, I wanted something that was different than like a traditional boy character, because that's kind of what I used in my act, was just like just a normal ventriloquist dummy. There wasn't anything like super unique about him. So I kind of wanted something that was different. He could make more like topical jokes and just be very quick with like an audience and almost have like a Rodney Dangerfield like type vibe to him. And and obviously with that period of time, that was when I was using him, I think his he has jokes that I would use in the live shows that would like prove to always get laughs. So that's like something I like about that character is like, but after a while I just get kind of like bored doing the same act over and over again. So I'll even, when I'm preparing this act with Rich Handsome, and it's cool to even come on your platform and try out, jokes that I've written for him just to see if, they land.
Great.
It's, but I enjoy that more, that process of finding out if jokes are good than continuously doing the same bits over and over. Because it's like, I already know that stuff works. We all know those ventriloquist jokes that have been passed down from the beginning of ventriloquism, which is another thing that it's funny that people think that like ventriloquists invented those jokes. Like Jeff, for example, like invented like the hand up the butt joke. You know what I mean? It's like, how many ventriloquists probably said that before him,
Yeah, exactly. Or like when Zerdin won. I mean, I remember, like, I love Nina Conti, but like I remember being a senior in high school, and my teacher was like, "Did you see that lady where she put the mask on the person and she turns them into a puppet?" Like, yeah, the mask has been around forever, but Nina pulls out like a giant rack of 50 of them and makes it her own thing. So it's interesting how like you can have something that's been around forever, but you can have different people that put their take on it. And a great example of that is I've got a character that's very similar to Sugar Daddy Marv, and his name's Mervin, and he's an old ladies man. And I didn't know we've never met at convention because my first convention was back in 2016, but I wrote the character with my dad because I used to write with my dad, and that was his sensibility, and we went with that. And I'm on the same wavelength as you, Jack, in that wherever I can perform that character anywhere and it works. But you like doing the new stuff and the weirder stuff like the zombie or the Rich Handsome. So it's a trip for sure.
Yeah, I actually thought the same thing. I was like Mervin, Marv. That's kind of funny they're totally different. I mean, they're both old. And that's another, comparison, as I'm sure you get. It's like, just because he's like an old man, they're like, Walter's brother, and it's like,
it's so bad though. I had someone say that I stole a Jeff Dunham bit, and it was on a video. I went viral, and they were saying I stole. I'm like, I don't, what? Because I have an old man puppet. Like I don't do old wife jokes. Mervin's like a ladies man, so he dates around, but I don't do like marriage jokes or anything like that. But people will try to come at you.
It's funny. I was, I was thinking about this before I was going to come on your show, and I was thinking like, as far as like the ventriloquist that I watch now, like I'll watch, old ventriloquist acts like Jeff's, and I'll rewatch, but I've seen all of them. Like as ventriloquists, it's like, you've scoured the web to find like every, ventriloquist act that has been on YouTube. You've probably seen all of them too, So you know them. So it's like the ventriloquist that I watch now is you and like Max, because Max Fulham, because it's like you guys are kind of in that same like wavelength as far as like I am consistently putting out like that content that we're like that generation that's trying to be like that last generation. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And, I heard this on another show where, two comics were talking, and they were talking about how nowadays, just being a comic, how much content you have to put out online, and how you can't just go do a show. You have to put out so much online content and just to grow. And it's interesting though.
I have a funny story as far as like what kind of got me inspired to do TikTok was I started doing TikTok like really seriously in May of this year, which is just, you know, crazy how TikTok, you can start at like 1,400 and end up at like, you know, I'm almost at like 90,000 from May. You know what I mean?
It's great. It's a great, yeah, I love that platform.
Just from, and that's the thing, is it's just like, for me, I think it's just about consistency. It's like, you just have to post like all the time, you know, and just see what lands. But before, I didn't think that. Before, I was like, you just have to think of a really good video, you know, and then you'll make it. But I was friends with this guy named Ryan Kelly, and he, you know, was a
Pastor Boy.
Yeah, he was a stand-up, and you know, I never really did any with him, but you know, we hung out a lot a few years ago, and I remember I saw him starting to get really big on TikTok, and I really didn't understand it. I was like, how is this possible? You know what I mean? I was like, how is this possible? And then I just saw him explode, you know, on TikTok from where he was, even when I was like then, and now he's, you know, huge and doing shows, you know, throughout the country as a headliner. And it's so, like you said, like, yeah, you have to be on social media, you know, you have to like have that audience, you know, and it's almost bad because it's like, you want to be able to sell yourself as like a creative, but you need to sell yourself just based on like followers, which kind of sucks. But it's like, I think it's a good and bad thing, because I think consistently posting means like you're always practicing, you know, you're always getting better, and you're getting quicker, you know, in front of the camera, you know. So I think that's the positive side of it, you know.
Yeah, that's fascinating. You know, the interesting thing is like, I have, and I'm sure you've gotten comments, if not, you're going to, on like, of people going, do you do like live shows, or do you do this outside of TikTok or whatever? Have you gotten those?
Honestly, not. I haven't gotten that comment. No.
Okay, because I get a bunch of those of like the whole, like, them thinking that I just do ventriloquism on TikTok.
Yeah, I think I was very, very lucky to have gotten on that on Rhett and Link, and so like just that like brief appearance, people like, you know, have associated me with like something else other than TikTok, you know.
Oh,
so,
right.
You know what I mean? So a lot of people are like, I've seen you somewhere, you know, as a ventriloquist. And I'm like, probably Rhett and Link. And they're like, oh, you know, now I remember, you know.
What was that experience like for you? Because that was a great episode.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was really cool. It was definitely one of those things where I was thinking, should I, because the producer was like, we're gonna have you, you know, basically they're gonna do this thing where they guess which ventriloquist dummy is yours, and then you're just gonna have like 30 to 40 seconds of you just performing, right? And so I was like, this is my time to shine, you know. And I noticed that the ventriloquists who prepared stuff did not, like, it didn't really sound super natural, you know what I mean? So I was like, I'm not going to prepare anything, you know, I'm just going to kind of react to what they're saying. And so a lot of people in the comments were like, oh, that this show is like all scripted. It was not scripted at all. Like they were just, I did not know what they were going to say, and I did not know what I was going to say with the puppet. So it was very like nerve wracking, because you're like, you get this, you only get one take. They're not gonna like be like, oh, you did bad, we're gonna redo the take. You know, it's like you just get that one take, and then like you live in YouTube history. You know, so it was really cool, and I'm really glad that I got it done with first, because I think the nerves would have like built up in me, like, because when the producer was like, we're gonna do your dummy first, I was like, okay, good. I can just, you know, get these nerves out of the way, you know? Sure. I'm like, I know I'm going first, you know, and the rest, it was kind of random, you know, but it was really a cool experience to like go to a studio, meet both of those guys, and like Paul Scheer as well, and do something on like that level, because you kind of, in my mind, I was like, that's really cool, because like that's kind of, as a performer, what you like strive to be like every day, because those guys get to perform every day and it's just like I was just thinking about it. It's like, man, they get to come to work and just do this show and do what they love every day and get paid a ton of money for it. You know what I mean? And
of course.
And that was just an awesome experience. And as you know, as like auditioning for something like America's Got Talent, you're just in this kind of awkward stage before you get on the show, and you never really get to experience what the show is like. You know, you just get to experience these rooms of like people, you know, these big rooms. And that experience, the Rhett and Link thing, was cool because it was like you're there, you know, there's no like room process, you know.
Right. You go in and you see the set and everything. So was it the other ventriloquists? I don't think I recognized any of the other ventriloquists on the lineup. Were they all actual ventriloquists, or did they have to like bring in actors or just random people to play?
There was one guy who was not a ventriloquist. He was like a plant, and that was kind of like the joke in the end of it.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
You know, he didn't have a ventriloquist dummy. But you know what was so funny was that when all the ventriloquists were in the green room, and insanely nice studio, by the way. Like you know, they have, it's insane how much like YouTube has just changed, you know, entertainment as we know it, because they have that one, you know, they're the one Rhett and Link channel just has a whole studio, like all these people, you know, work, you know, with cameras and stuff and green rooms, and they had the guy who's the plant, and as the ventriloquists are like getting to know each other, like they're all like LA ventriloquists, and a lot of them other than Hannah and I, Hannah.
That's right, Hannah was there. I forgot about that.
Yeah, like we knew each other from the convention, and so it was cool seeing her, but everyone else was obviously like a lot older. And then there was another guy who was like similar to our age. He was the plant, but he was acting as if he was a ventriloquist in the green room. He was just like making stuff up, like, oh so yeah.
You never knew he was a plant until they actually said it?
Until the show. Yes. So in the green room, he was like chatting it up like he like knew all this stuff. And then it kind of clicked because we were all like, you know, like, because we were asking him about shows and stuff, and his answers were a little strange, like looking back on it. You know what I mean?
Okay. Like, what do you mean?
I don't know, but like I kind of forget because it was so long ago. I kind of forget what he was saying.
He was just trying to pull an answer out of thin air.
But it's like if you're talking to a ventriloquist, like, you know, like the basics of like, you know, what we kind of go through as ventriloquists, like performing. You know what I mean?
So he wasn't like his answers weren't relatable.
Exactly. Yeah. They were just kind of like, he almost felt like like. In the moment when you first meet someone, you don't want to like judge them or anything like that. But looking back on it, you're like, oh yeah, he was definitely a plant, you know, because he was like wearing a Hawaiian shirt, you know, just kind of like dressed to like almost like look like a ventriloquist, you know, like
right. Yeah, some of these convention people. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
that's hilarious. Wow. Well, that's great, man. So was it like I guess right at that time you had Sugar Daddy Marv, and that was kind of your original character, so you went with that, right? I mean, you didn't have Foster.
No, yeah.
So it was.
He was the one I was just doing that. I was developing that club act with, and I was the most comfortable with, so I decided to go with him, and it was perfect for the show because I think that back and forth that I had, even though it was so short, and I know I'm like talking about it as if like I was on like Conan or like the late night show, but you know, as a ventriloquist nowadays, it's like, you know.
But that's like that though. Like that's just as important. Being on Rhett and Link is just as important as getting like a spot on Conan, especially with the viewers and the popularity of the show. You know.
100%. Yeah. Like even just that little tiny bit like just expanded like my booking horizons like so much, you know. And it's like you type in ventriloquist on YouTube and that's like one of the first clips that comes up, so you know that's awesome for me. And I was like, it's awesome for you that like, you know, you type in ventriloquist on TikTok and you're the first thing that pops up, you know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
At least the hashtag, you know.
Oh yeah, I've been on it for like 2 years, and I think I looked at some TikTok generator the other day, and it told me that I had like 3,000 something videos out, and I'm like, yeah, I can believe that. Because what I found from TikTok is like, I'll introduce a new character and try it on TikTok, and then do live streams and try out jokes and the characterizations, and and then I'll find that because I've got it so solid, I can do it on stage without a problem. And because I've tested, have you gotten it yet, or have you found that like certain jokes work or anything like that? From
like I was saying before, I think that like my TikTok is much different than my live act as far as like, because my live act is a lot like it's a lot of like acting, and obviously TikTok is too, but a lot of I noticed, and this is kind of what I'm trying to do on TikTok, is I'm trying to like make it a little less like kiddie and more like a mixture of my live act and something that like kids can watch too, but it's not like too crazy inappropriate that I would get banned for it, so I'm really trying to like I'm trying to make a good mixture of both, because I feel like going too blue as a ventriloquist using puppets on TikTok doesn't really work because you'll get banned, or being too kid friendly, you kind of pigeonhole yourself in that audience of just children, and so a lot I've tried to do like live act jokes, and they just they don't do as well as just like I said, just coming up with something goofy and random on the spot, so I try to I'm trying to like have a good medium in between both.
And it's so hard, especially with like the reach, like what you were talking about on TikTok, just how quickly you can grow. I thought like I had more kids my age following me, but I have like younger kids and parents and families and stuff. And so I'm like my comedy's kind of gotten raunchier and then like cleaner depending on like different factors. And it's just kind of me just trying stuff now.
You honestly know what I think it is? I think it's who the video is getting pushed out towards. So it's like if it could get pushed like those duets, the reason I think that the duets that I do so well is I think the majority of people that watch them are children, right? And so that's why I think that those do well, and the comments are very like, hi, hello, hey, you know what I mean? Like or they'll just be like a bunch of emojis. And the ones that are more like where I'm using the character manipulation and there's more of a joke there, it's going to be more of like an adult audience, especially if it's like a joke that would go over a kid's head,
Right. Well, that's fantastic. And you've got, I love your YouTube stuff. It's always so funny because it's so, you talk about how character driven your work is. And I love the stuff with Foster. You've got a podcast. Are you still doing the podcast with him?
No. See, the thing is, what I'm trying to do now is I have ADHD, so I'm like a very like one track, like focus kind of guy. So I'm trying to hit 100,000 followers on TikTok, and I think that that's like a good milestone to kind of like once I hit that, I'm gonna like branch out and really try to grind more on other platforms like YouTube, Instagram. Like Instagram, I'm like super aware that it's like obviously like I haven't used it at all, but that's the thing is I wanted to build up my TikTok and then kind of branch out from there. So up and coming stuff for YouTube and Instagram for sure.
That's the way I was. I didn't want to become a YouTuber. I didn't even want that name. I'm like, I'm a ventriloquist. And then people are like, you have like longer videos. And I'm like, okay, I'll do it.
Yeah, exactly.
I get it. Yeah. Well, but anyway, your YouTube is fantastic. I love you've got some show clips on there. I'm looking at it now, and some fun, just random videos with Foster, which is great. Could we meet Foster? Could he pop in?
Yeah. Got him right here.
All right.
Pull him out.
And and you know what was funny was probably another coincidence type thing, but the movie flopped. And even to the actors, I don't think that what is it? What's the word? It got to their expectations, or it even like met what they were expecting for it. But Happy Time Murders.
Yes.
It seems like he would be like a background character on that. But like from a ventriloquial approach is fun.
I remember when that movie came out. I think I came up with Foster after it, but I wasn't even like really thinking of that. I think it's one of those things where like you probably see it and it's like in the back of your mind, and then you realize like, oh wait, like that's similar to this. You know what I mean?
You didn't buy a bunny puppet because you saw Darcy on AGT?
No, I really just saw this puppet, and like I showed my friends it because I was looking, because like buying a puppet, it's whenever somebody on TikTok's like, where can I get this? It's like when I'm trying to find a puppet, it takes weeks. Like it takes
it's a difficult process.
It's like if you're gonna go through the same amount of like weird like rabbit holes to find, you know, a character, then like be my guest. That's why I don't really care like where I say like where I got it, because it's like, you know, you got to do the voice, you got to like, you know, figure out how to like, you know, naturally move it and stuff, and yeah, so that's why I'm like, hey, you know, you really want to know like where this is, like, okay, like you're gonna have to do a lot of like research, you know, or like all your characters, you make them, so it's like, you know,
yeah,
it's like you literally have to build them, you know.
Well, I've gotten to the point where I can't find someone that will where I can get them to work my vision. And some of these puppets, you know, that you see they sell at like convention, aren't built by performers, so they're stiff, or they're, you know, they kind of take some getting used to.
Yeah, and that's the thing about Rich Handsome, and I'm happy to get used to, is like with Foster, he's got like the straps in his mouth, so it's like my hands like really like secure in there, whereas like Rich Handsome, there's no straps, so it's like if my hand gets sweaty, you know what I mean, I have to have him do that laugh where his head goes back so my hand can like fit back into the puppet head, you know.
So
what
how
I mean?
does your hand, how does it fit? What's the grip like?
There really isn't any grip.
There's just like a top piece, and then there's the mouth,
and then there's the mouth. Yeah, there's no strap,
okay.
And it's just like the foam. And so like my hand's like, because I got like a skinny hand, so it's like,
yeah,
you
so do I.
Yeah, so it's, I was almost thinking about maybe putting like an extra piece of foam in there or something like that, you know what I mean, just to have it a little bit more secure. Yeah, or maybe trying to put in straps myself, but yeah,
I put in mine, I do like leather, because it takes, you know, and it over time it gets comfortable, and then it takes, you know, everything, the sweat and everything well. But I do a bar or something, and then leather.
I will have to say though, like the detail on like Marianne Taylor's puppets are awesome. Like just the detail on the face, it looks so like, especially from a distance, how those at least the human ones, you know, like you're saying, like the faces, you don't even have to do much and they look alive. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah,
sure.
But yeah, I've got Foster right here.
Oh, let's see him. Let's see Foster.
Yeah.
He looks happy to be here.
I just woke up, Lyndon.
I mean, you look great. I could, you know, your morning face looks like your normal face, so that's a pro.
I haven't drank water in 3 days.
Oh, he's great. He's hilarious.
I need hydration.
I like how his fur looks dirty, but like it's just the way that the fur is. You know what I mean? Like it's not like
real dirt. It's real dirt.
It's real.
It actually is. Real
I believe it. Is it really?
It's real dirt, because the thing,
you're one of those method actor ventriloquists. Okay.
Yeah. No, well, the thing about Foster, I always kind of like wanted him to get like dirty and grimy over time, because like when I first got, he was like very white, and so like when I do a lot of my TikTok videos, I perform them outside on like my outdoor patio, and I think just using him outside, the dirt has kind of like, with Rich Handsome, I'm very like, I'll use him outside for a second, but I won't even set him down outside. With Foster, set him down, you know. He abuses me. No, I don't abuse you. Okay, you're just making sounds now.
I need help.
No, okay. He's asking you for help, Landon, but don't listen.
He's a foster kid. We need a helpline for him. Poor kid.
I love that joke. You said foster kid. That's my name.
Laughs like a seagull. Let's see the legs that you paid extra for. You got to show them in the TikTok videos, otherwise it's not worth it. It just floats up. All right, that's great.
$100 legs.
I do like the head, how it's very Muppety. You know what I mean? It fits the whole narrative of what you're going for, you know?
Yeah, I really like him, and I also like, like he does look like that traditional like puppet kind of like style,
Yeah. I like how I look too, because I can really just make a trash can my home.
So you're gonna be like Oscar the Grouch.
I'm dirtier than him. Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
He's great. Has he seen the stage? He's seen a
Um,
lot of stuff, but
no, you know what's funny is I was actually developing his act right before COVID, so I had him, and it took a long like time because I like to write my act and really flesh it out before I go on stage and perform
I'm
with
the same way. I'm a freak about it.
Yeah, and so, but it sucks because it's like I had all these tapes of just me practicing the act with him, and then COVID hit, and it was like right before I was gonna put him on stage. So it's just now I'm like starting to really like create like a concrete like 30 minutes with because I already have the Marv act, I already have his act, and now it's just like using Rich, and then that's the 30 minutes because I just want to have that like solid 30.
Okay.
And then just have those bits that I can do in comedy clubs.
Wow, that's great. So when you do comedy clubs, is it like 5 or what are you doing when you're doing like spots?
5 to 8 minutes usually.
Okay.
If it's a club that like I'm like have been like a regular at, then I'll usually do longer. But if it's like the Comedy Store, like a really like big club or something like that, it'll just be like honestly at the Comedy Store it's like 3 minutes. You have to. And the thing is, when I do that, like when I've done the Comedy Store, I try to just do my best bits. I don't try to like really like. I don't want to try to like do new material at the Comedy Store because it's like that the comics like really remember you there. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Really badly, they'll just be like, oh, there's that guy that bombed, that ventriloquist.
Well, and exactly. Like you're always. It's hard because you want to try out new stuff, but then you're like always, especially when you're seen in LA, you're always being seen and different opportunities here and there. And so you want to like, especially when a place like the Store, you want to present your best stuff. Was it weird when you did like open mics? Was it hard to do that? Like you got 2-3 minutes up there and you're like, that's what I deal with. Like I'm a slower pace, even with Jackie, he's quicker, but it's like, it's still like kind of flowers into like a bit. So was that hard for you, or did you just do these jokes and go up there?
I just go on stage and start making sounds like, and that's it.
No,
that sounds like an art installment.
Yeah. I try to from the gate just try to have like a good opening like laugh joke, like a joke that people are gonna laugh at if I know I only have 3 minutes. And that's why sometimes if it's like a smaller crowd, it can just be awkward, because it's like if there's not a big crowd to like really get the joke, it's just like one guy just going like, you know what I mean? Like, and you're just like, yeah,
you get it,
that kind of a thing.
This
like,
guy, yeah.
And so I try to if it's a 3-minute act, I try to just all have like the jokes that I know are gonna land, or I could just say like screw it and just try new stuff and just have it bomb and just be like I just tried it out, just wanted to see if it worked.
Yeah, because like I think it's such a personal thing to have a joke bomb, especially if you're a stand-up. But like when you're a ventriloquist, and I guess it could be also personal, but like you're just trying to figure out the sensibility for the character, and you're like, can I get away with doing this in this character?
Yeah, exactly. You're like, can I say this with a character? And how is this character going to respond to people's comments? Like if there's like a heckler, and people always like are like, what do you do if there's like a heckler in the crowd or whatever? I kind of like when there's hecklers because it's like, you're never gonna beat a puppet as an audience member. A puppet it is always going to win because it's just inherently like funny that it's talking on stage. So I could literally say anything back and they would, immediately lose the argument of whatever they're trying to heckle. So I almost like it,
Yeah. You're like, I'll take that challenge. Well, that's fantastic. Wow. So what are you working on next that you want to promote or plug or anything like that?
I'll put Foster away. He'll say goodbye.
Goodbye, Landon. It was good to talk to you. I admire you. and I would like to participate in doing, well, drinking water with you, if you know what I mean.
Oh, I think you do, which is
If I could wink, I would wink. There we
just
go.
you a little. You're not. All right. Well, thank you, Foster, for coming out, and I hope you get help. I'd say that, but that would kind of ruin your character. So keep doing what you do best, buddy.
Oh, I got help. I got that sweet, sweet liquid. Yeah.
Okay, that's a Foster.
All right.
As far as stuff to promote, Puppet Jack on YouTube with a little dash under the T. The Puppet Jack, just Puppet Jack, is used by a child with 5 followers. I messaged him to get that handle, but there has been no response. Apparently, he's too good for me.
That's why I'm Landon Venting on everywhere, not Landon Harvey. So I get it.
This kid is too good for me. I'm like, hey man, I'll put that handle to good use. But Puppet Jack on TikTok, road to 100K. I think I'm only like 12,000 or 13,000 followers away from it. So
all right,
close, road to 100K. Once I hit 100K, I will start some more YouTube stuff. I have really cool ideas that I want to implement on YouTube, and look out for live shows in your local comedy club in Los Angeles, California.
All right, and you're on Instagram too, so people can follow you
Instagram,
there.
Same handle, Puppet Jack.
All right, cool deal. Well, Jack Williams, you're a good friend of mine. Thank you so much for being on Landon Live, for sharing about your story, and we're excited to see where you go, man. This is great.
Of course, man. Thanks for having me. Great to be on. Always watching your stuff. Keep it up, bro.
All right, you too. Find them on TikTok, people. Bye, guys.
Peace.